Hello everyone, welcome to Ahmed's Automation Lab. This is part 2 of my lab, and in today's video we will create our first Python script. The script we are creating today is CLI script. It is a very simple one. I will try to use simple commands and I will try to hard code all variables within my commands. I want to minimize number of lines and I want to make my script very easy to understand. The sake of this video is to create a script. It is not to teach Python or to teach scripting. It is only to test our first CLI script. So without any further ado, let's start creating our first script. As you can see here, I have 4 windows in my desktop. This window here is for Python 3.8. This is the latest code or the latest version of Python as per today. I suggest if you are learning Python for the first time to try to test the latest code or the latest version available. This is the interactive window, which means when I type commands here, they will run on the spot and I will see the results directly. This is used for testing, so before inserting your commands into the code or the script, you can test them here to see the output and to modify on the command if needed. We have here our body, which is a terminal software. I have SSH session to my Aruba 3600M switch that I'm using for my testing here. This is a physical switch. I have the editor here. So there are many editors for Python, but for me, I'm using here Atom. Here we have our command prompt. I have already 2 scripts, but we run them one by one and command by command to make sure that we fully understand these scripts and we understand how I created or constructed these scripts. First of all, we need to import NetMiko. Then we can try to SSH to any device using this command. Usually you don't insert the IP address, username, password into this command. Usually you use libraries like getPass and more interactive methods to enter username and passwords. Also, for the host name, you can use dictionary or external files or automation tools to apply the same script into multiple devices. But for simplicity, in this video, I'm using only one device and I hard-coded all variables into my script. So if we try to enter this command into my interactive window, I have the SSH enabled now and the SSH session is running to the switch below. This is the command I want to run, which is show version. And here I'm sending that command to my switch. Let me remove the split just to make the code easy. So I sent the command. If you want to see the result, we can use print switch version. So this is the output of the command. Now it is difficult for Python to parse this output and to understand different variables. Let's assume I'm looking for a script that can read the OS version and send it back as an output of this script. So for me to be able to read this variable, I need to move to the lines one by one. So this is line 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to go to line number 4, then go to the word number 0, 1, 2. So I need to go 4 lines, 2 words to reach the version. So there are already existing methods or functions that I can use, which helps me to go directly to this value. So for example, I can use something called split lines, which means which means I'm dividing my line or my text into multiple lines to make it easy for the script to understand the values. So as you can see now, the text here was converted into multiple values. This is called list, which starts with a bracket and has multiple values separated by commas. To know more about lists, I suggest you go for different Python videos. I may create some Python videos in the future, but for my automation lab, I will just go into simple scripts and focus only on these simple commands within my script. So I was able to split this text into multiple lines. Then I want to go to line number 4, word number 2. So if I try to print line number 4, word number 2, this will give me the version number. So this print command will print this string as it is, which version is, then will append the word number 2 in line number 4 of the output of show version, which is this value. So all this script, although it is short, but it is only to read the version number, which can be used for more testing or more functions within the script. Now to see this in action as one script, let me go to the folder where I have my scripts. Python scripts. Then my script name is version.py. So this script was able to read the version value for me, which is all what I need from this script. I added one function here, which is start time and end time, just to show you that running this simple script using CLI scripting needed 4.34 seconds, which is a lot of time if you are doing automation for hundreds of switching and if you are running multiple commands and you are doing more processing and more parsing for your output. So this is not a fast process. This is very slow for large automation software. And that's why we need API scripting, which is more faster, as we will see in the next videos. Now let's take more complex function. Let's assume I'm not looking only to read certain value. I want to take an action. For example, in this switch here, I have multiple VLANs created and I have different trunks created. Let's assume for some reason I want to shut down all ports in VLAN 3, whether they are access in VLAN 3 or they are trunk ports with native VLAN as VLAN 3. So let's assume I have a large network with hundreds of switches, and for some reason I want to shut down all ports that are in VLAN 3. So I have this simple script. In brief, this script import NetMiko and time. Time is needed only for me to calculate number of seconds needed to run this script. As I did in my first script, I hard-coded all values in the command to make it easy for me to process this script in a very low number of lines. I need to run this encounter because I need to test the ports one by one or the interfaces one by one. The command I'm sending is show VLAN port 1/1/n, where n is a value that ranges from 1 to 28. Once it is 29, this counter will stop and it will escape to the next command. So N will range from 1 to 28. So I'm sending the command, then I'm saving the value into port VLAN. I'm testing or I'm verifying the length of the lines one by one because I want to avoid any empty lines that can create errors for me. So I'm splitting the output into lines. I'm reading the lines one by one. I'm setting the VLAN to 0 as an initial value. Then I'm reading the lines one by one. I'm looking at the second word in each line. If it is access or native untagged, this means this line includes the access VLAN for that port. Let me show you this from body just to make it simple. So let's say if I try this command, show VLAN port 1.1.1. As you can see here, I don't care about these lines. I care only about this line here. It is very difficult to identify the counter or the sequence of this line because it can be different from one interface to another. So for me to be able to identify this line, I will look into the second word because this is 0, 1, 2. So I will look at word number 2. If it is access, this means the first value in this line is the VLAN number. So I'm reading the lines one by one. I'm looking at the word number 2. If it is access or native untagged, because if the port is a trunk, like for example, we have port 1119. If the port is a trunk, I want to see the native VLAN, which is untagged. If it is VLAN 3, I want to shut down this port. So for some reason, I want to remove any port that has VLAN 3 untagged. I want to shut down any port that has VLAN 3 untagged. So if VLAN number is 3, send this command. Go to configure terminal, interface 111, and then shut down. Actually, I don't need this line here, this command, because anyway, I'm using another function here which can take care of this. And this is the good thing about NetMiko. It is very intelligent and it can deal with all communication between the device and my testing machine. So let me save again. So this counter will go over the interfaces one by one. For every interface, it will test the output line by line to see for any line that has the word access or native VLAN in position number 2. If this is the case, the word in position number 0 is the VLAN number. If this VLAN number is 3, shut down that port. Once you complete, disconnect and show me how much time did this process take for me to compare this value with whatever I will get using API. I'm trying to print some checkpoints. For example, I'm trying to print here and to print here just to make sure that my script is working as expected. So let's try to run this script, then we'll discuss the output. So the script name is vlan.py. As you can see, CLI scripting is slow because it needs to enable SSH. So for every port, it's printing the port number and then the VLAN is VLAN number. If VLAN number is 3, it is shutting down that port or that interface and printing port shutdown just to make sure that it is doing what's expected. If your goal is only to shut down this port and you don't care about printing all these details, you can simply remove this line here. This hash means this line will not be implemented. It is only a comment. So let's save it now and try to run this script again. So this time it doesn't print the lines one by one. It will print only if VLAN is number 3, just to show me that it enables shutdown or it runs shutdown on these ports. To make my output even clearer or easier to understand, I can say port plus or port interface 1/1 slash so this just to make the output easier to understand and to read. So let's see how much time it will take to run this script again. So this is much easier to understand and read now. But as you can see, it took about 31 seconds to run this script. And in some cases it took about 32 seconds to run the same script if I want to print all results. This is a lot of time for any automation software if you keep in mind that some networks may have hundreds or thousands of switches that should be automated. So this script now took about 31 seconds. In the next video, we will create our first API script and we will compare CLI scripting with API scripting to see the difference in timing and effort when it comes to CLI compared to API. Thank you for watching and I hope this video was useful for you. Have a great day.